And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to take a look at a game from Russia called World of Tanks Rush. This is a deck building game in which you're going to build squads of tanks and attack others. And this was, if you remember, on my list of highly anticipated games from Essen 2013 because, for one, I mean, the idea of tanks is always cool. It's something I think that's not often used in games. And, I mean, the artwork and design of the cards, when I saw it online, was just really sharp, really cool. So I got the game, and we gave it a whirl. Let's tell you what we think. At the beginning of the game, each player has 3 bases that they're going to place in front of them. You're going to be protecting those bases. A deck of cards is placed in the middle of the table, and you'll draw 4 of those cards. These cards are going to come from different countries. There's Germany, the USSR, France, and America, and each card will show that. In fact, these cards are usually showing different types of vehicles, so let's take a look at what some of those mean. The number in the gas tank here is how much money that's worth in a sense. When you buy other cards, how much it costs to buy the card is over here. So this one is actually a free card and gives you a value of 4 when buying other cards. At the top, it shows you what country it's from and some names about it. It also shows you how much attack it has, 0, and how much defense it has, 1. And so the different cards here you can see to compare to this is here. This vehicle has an attack of 2, defense of 1, only 1 purchasing power, and it costs 2 to buy. It also has a special ability. This particularly special ability lets you clear all 4 of these cards and then buy from the new ones. Now, in this game, you're going to start with a starting deck. And this starting deck is very small. It's made up of 6 cards. On your turn, you're going to shuffle it. You're going to draw 3 of these cards. And you can play these cards and you'll use them. Like, let's say I got these here. I could say, oh, okay, well, let's see what I'm going to do. I want to buy this one here. This gives me 4 purchasing power. Now, I should mention that although that card looks great, it's 4 purchasing power towards Russian tanks only. So I might want to buy that one, or I might want to buy this one, this 1-1 vehicle. So I have different options that I could do. So let's say I buy a card. I put it into my discard pile along with the other cards I played. I can also play cards in my hand for special abilities. Then the farthest one to the left is put into a discard pile. Everything is moved down, and we bring out more for the next person to go. And this will just continue. It will go on and on and on as players do this. Now, you want to play these guys often for their special abilities. And you'll notice that there's all sorts of special abilities. I mentioned this one here lets you replace all 4 cards. This one here, a repair, lets you take 2 cards from your deck and get rid of them from the game, basically, to make your deck faster to cycle through. And this ammunition one here basically lets you draw extra cards. So when you use, let's say this card was in my hand, when I use it for a special ability, I can also defend one of my bases with it. In fact, I must put it at one of my bases as a defense. Instead of using a card for special ability, you can use it to attack. You can use it to attack another vehicle, or you can use it to attack someone else's base. When you attack someone else's base, if there's no one protecting it, then we turn it sideways. The next time someone attacks it, that person will receive this card, put it in their deck, making it worth 3 points. If I attack someone's vehicle, well, if it's just 1 defense, then anybody can attack it and destroy it. Anyone with a 1 or 2 attack can destroy it. If it's a 2 defense and I attack with a 1, we turn it sideways, and it will take another attack. Otherwise, at the beginning of your turn, it's repaired. You can attack with multiple cards, but they have to be from the same country. So if I wanted, I could attack with both of these cards together because they're both French cards, but I couldn't attack with a French and a USSR card. When you attack with a card from a specific country, you also, and destroy a vehicle, you'll take a victory point that matches that country and add that to your deck. At the end of the game, there is a pile of what are called achievement cards. Several of these will be placed in the beginning of the table, and some of these will give you points. You might get points for having the most victory point cards from a specific country, the most heavy tanks or light tanks, different sorts of tanks. The game will end when one of these piles of 1 victory points are gone, and there's 2 victory points on the bottom of each of these piles that you replace once you get 2 of the same one. When one of those piles is gone, or when the initial deck runs out in the middle. At that point, players are going to total up all the points and all the different cards that they have, and which are these little victory point medals. Most of them are going to come from destroying other people's bases or getting those other victory points, and then also getting these achievements. And whoever has the most points is the winner. All right, well, that's... like I said, I still, after seeing it in person, I still really like the graphic design of this. I think the pictures are excellent. I think the design is easy. My only concern, and this is a minor one, because the game came with a little card that tells you what all the special abilities do, but this card is only in Russian, so not very useful. It would have been great if I had given everyone one, because you keep forgetting what all the symbols mean, and some of the symbols aren't intuitive. Like the repair symbol means take 2 cards out of your deck. That kind of makes sense, but it's just not, naturally able to get. So there's different things, and the special abilities are kind of cool, where you can just, some of them let you attack other ones. Other ones basically means when you play that tank, you get a victory point. Some of the people can only attack vehicles, others can only attack bases. So that's cool and all. As a deck building game, I felt that there was a couple problems with this one that made it less than stellar. The idea is cool. I like the idea of having different tanks, and if you have multiple of the same kind, you can attack together. That's a great idea. The first hang-up is the constantly changing center row. Every turn you're supposed to pull a card out of that center row. There's only 4 cards in. So in the very first turn when you put it down, any card that costs 2 or more is not ever... I guess any card that costs 4 or more isn't even able to be purchased. And if you're playing in a larger player game, and this can go up to 5 players, you might as well not even look at the 4 cards that are out in someone else's turn, because they will not be there when it comes around to you. And so you can't do any kind of forward planning. You just kind of sit there with your thumbs in your pockets waiting until it comes around to your turn. And it also was really kind of getting annoying after a while, constantly moving the cards, drawing them, and moving them, and it happens every single turn. The other thing is because your hand is a 3-card hand, and because you start with just a few cards that are worth 1, it takes forever to get the cards that you need. And just when you have a handful of cards that you can buy stuff with, there's nothing out there, or it's all too expensive, or it's all too cheap. It's just, the game is a really slow build. And a tank game, especially one called Rush, should be a game in which you rush, that you're constantly moving fast. And this game does not move fast, except that center line. That moves fast. Maybe that's what the Rush is about, as the center line goes. The achievements aren't bad, although because they're trying to be symbology on them, you have to go through the rulebook and then remind everybody what they mean. The game works attacking each other, although because everyone's attack or defense is 1 or 2, it's not very, exciting. There's no like, ooh, that's a really cool vehicle. The best vehicle is a 2-2, or a heavy tank that can destroy a base in 1 shot rather than taking 2 to take it out. And that's another thing. Why would I ever damage a base if I can't finish it off? Just not worth it, because if I damage it and then you finish it off, you get the points. What do I get? Applause from you? Not good enough, sir. So, it seems like I'm giving this one a negative review, and I suppose that I am. I like the idea, and I think with some development, this could be really cool. Some minor changes. The hands are too small, and the game plods a little slow, but the idea is good. Maybe they'll make a better version 2.0, and that one I'll be eager to play, and hopefully they keep the same graphic design, because that's phenomenal. World of Tanks Rush.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.